Welcome back to another enlightening episode of MH Knows or She Knows Someone Who Does, Unlocking Real Estate Secrets. I'm your host, Marianne Holt, and today we're embarking on a journey into the world of housing counseling and social services, focusing on the vital issues of homeownership, first-time homeownership, renters, housing accessibility, and community support programs. I'm thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest, Abraham Reyes Pardo, Vice President of the Office of Housing and Diversion Services at the Urban League of Philadelphia. With a profound commitment to improving lives and creating opportunities, Abraham is a true expert in the field of housing and social services, particularly for marginalized communities. Abraham's dedication goes well beyond the ordinary. He is actively engaged in initiatives that address home affordability, provide accessible loan and grant options, and implement diversion strategies to support those in need. His passion for community development and social justice has made a significant impact here in Philadelphia. Today, we're going to explore the essential aspects of housing counseling, diversion services, and community support programs with Abraham, providing you with valuable insights into challenges and the innovative solutions being implemented to create lasting change. Abraham Reyes Pardo is not just a vice president, he's a compassionate leader who has spearheaded transformative initiatives, bringing hope and stability to countless individuals and families. He's here to share actionable strategies that can inspire you or someone you know to take part in the services his organization provides. So without further ado, let's dive into our conversation with Abraham. Get ready to gain insight and discover initiatives that are shaping a brighter future for communities in need. Abraham, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Can I say that?
Yeah, I think,
All
well,
right.
for some people it will be.
Good afternoon, good evening. Yeah. Hi. Thank you for having me here, Marianne. Abraham Reyes Pardo, Vice President of the Office of Housing and Diversion Services at the Urban League of Philadelphia.
Okay, all right. Well, I want to dive right in and I want to ask you my first question. All right.
Yes.
Can you provide us an overview of the services and support that your organization offers to homeowners, first time homeowners, and renters?
Yeah. The Urban League of Philadelphia has a comprehensive housing counseling program that has been around for many, many years. The organization as a movement has been around. It's over 100 years old, right? In the recent history of our program, we have been able to test and try some new initiatives that are specifically targeting some demographic groups. Even though as a HUD approved housing counseling agency, we do not discriminate in terms of serving all communities who might need our who might be coming our way, anyone who might need our services. In recent years, we have been more intentional, specifically after the pandemic, and that really exacerbated that gap in terms of home ownership between Black and Brown families and their counterparts. So we decided that it was a good opportunity to be more intentional with the work that we're doing. So at this time, our first-time homebuyers program consists of a financial literacy effort followed by one-on-one counseling, and then complemented by direct financial support. Um, in terms of what we're doing with renters, we have been quoted a number of articles that have to do with the eviction diversion program. We have been very responsive to the needs of of the citizens of Philadelphia. Since 2020, the Urban League of Philadelphia has been very involved with the eviction diversion program, making sure that there is another layer, another procedure to de-escalate the negotiations and the altercations between landlords and tenants. At some point, and when available, we offer direct financial support for renters. At this time, we don't have any in-house, but we are helping the city distribute the targeted financial assistance. And also, in the same spirit of the program, we offer foreclosure prevention services for families who are struggling with with mortgages or property taxes, as well as services for families who might be having some issues with utilities. So we are a USEF application center. And then, I mean, I know that that sounds like a lot, but there's a lot more than we're looking to do.
Good.
And for now, as you can imagine, that is keeping us very busy. And then, depending on the season, some of those programs might be more active than others.
Okay. Now, most people, when they think of housing counseling agencies, they think in terms of first time home buyers and you getting grants. And I know you guys do that, but I want to address that last. I really want to talk about homeowners now and renters. So let's start with homeowners.
Yeah.
You mentioned foreclosure prevention. What
Yes.
other services do you provide for homeowners?
Yeah, for homeowners, there is a post purchase component to our program. So
Hmm.
we specific to Philadelphia, we have worked with a number of homeowners that we have assisted in becoming attaining sustainable homeownership that are now in need of those additional resources, such as the homestead exemption offered by the city. They might need access to home repair loans that we can provide as well. They might be just, I mean, buying a house is a big shock to anyone's budget. So they might need some assistance in terms of credit and budgeting to complement sort of the process that they went through. And then just generally any advocacy that we can provide for those clients, making sure that we're being proactive, that they're being proactive in terms of what lies in the horizon. If there is any reason why for them to believe that they're about to fall behind on the mortgage payments, and we encourage them to come our way so we can dissect, take a snapshot of their financial profile or the family's financial profile, and determine whether or not any adjustments are needed.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Sometimes, I mean, just to give you an example, we still have encountered a number of families who have not applied for the homestead exemption that is offered by the city of Philadelphia. Recently, that homestead exemption went up to $80,000. And,
Hmm.
and just that on itself will create a reduction in terms of the monthly housing expense. And it just takes an email, it just takes a letter to the city. If you are a homeowner in Philadelphia who resides on the subject property, then you should be eligible for that homestead exemption.
Okay. So, Abraham, do you suggest that people, after they've purchased their first home, to go ahead and make an appointment with you guys for the post purchase so that they can learn about all these other resources that are available to them?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All of our services are free. Up until 3 years ago, we were still charging a fee for credit reports, which is no longer in place.
Hmm.
So this is a 100% free service to anyone who might need it, or anyone who might need it. So we want to encourage people, particularly those who we have helped to attain, get to the finish line. We want them to be in contact with us in case they can use one of the services that I just mentioned, or any other programs that might become available down the road. We know
Okay.
that there are different situations coming up all the time. I mean, for example, there's a whole homes repair program right now that is coming through in Philadelphia that is legislated by the state. Um, there are some loans that are out there. There are some grants that are out there. So the best way to learn about those options is really by way of a housing counselor.
And you said home repair programs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
there are some programs that will assist you with home repairs. I think most of everyone knows or has some level of familiarity with the basic systems repair. But the state finance agency has another less known program called the Home Energy Efficiency Loan Program that will offer $10,000 at a 1% interest rate. So you are talking about a payment of $44 or $88, depending on how much you're paying. And that loan, for example, can be used for anything related to windows, roof, insulation, doors, and matters that have to do with energy efficiency.
See, Abraham, this is why I do what I do, because a lot of people don't know that this exists, and it amazes me that they don't know. The assistance that you provide has been going on for years. Yet many
Yeah.
people have homes that are falling apart. They can't afford to take care of it, and they have no idea where to go. I'm so happy you're here to discuss it. Um, with the $10,000 loan, and it's a
Yeah.
low interest rate loan, they can use that to do work on anything in their home.
The items covered by that program are very specific. That
Okay.
program, the goal of that program is to assist with matters of energy efficiency. So
Okay.
we're talking about specifically air sealing, insulation, ductwork, energy efficient windows and doors, energy
Okay.
efficient heating or cooling system repairs or replacement, and then roof replacement.
Okay.
They go up to the program goes up to 80% of the AMI. So to give you an idea of how much someone can be making and to apply for that program, we're talking about a one-person household's annual income can go up to 53,450, and they will still be eligible for they will still be eligible for that grant.
That's pretty good.
For that
Many
loan,
people
I'm sorry.
use that. I'm sorry.
For that loan, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call it a grant, but we do a lot of grants, so that's why I got distracted.
No worries. That's a good amount. Many people would be eligible for this program.
Yeah, yeah, and to think about it again, it's I'm gonna say it one more time. The interest rate on that loan is 1%. So we're talking about a very small payment of either $44 or $88 per month
Wow.
to use that loan. I don't wanna say too much, right? But we have also approached the state finance agency to see if there is a way to enhance this program.
Okay.
Maybe I mean I don't want to speak for anyone, but maybe there is a way to match these funds with some other funds, right? And that's really what differentiates the work that the Urban League of Philadelphia does from other housing counseling agencies. We are a civil rights organization, and we have a very large, very visible advocacy arm.
Yes.
Yeah, so that goes from Philadelphia to Washington D.C. to New York by way of the National Urban League and our
Okay.
great leader Mark Morial. So we're a national organization with 93 affiliates throughout the country. So when we are out in the communities and we're listening to what the needs are, and then we can act on that. If we can bring all the actors together and kind of like brainstorm and come up with some of these ideas, some of these programs.
Okay. Sounds good. Now I want to go to the eviction diversion. What can you guys do to help them?
Yeah. because of the demands of that program, and in terms of, we're talking about volume. At this time, we are accepting and receiving referrals by way of the eviction diversion process. Philadelphia Legal Assistance and Cora Services coordinate that process, and then eventually those struggling tenants are paired with a housing counselor that will conduct a pre-mediation assessment and then eventually will assist them in mediation. Um, the landlord has to be on board in terms of the eviction diversion program. They have to be part of that. It's a landlord initiated process. Um, as I mentioned earlier, there is a financial assistance component to it, and it has to do with a certain amount of money that will be available for some of these families. Not all of them, but some of them might be eligible to receive funding between $3,000 and $5,000
Okay, and this is for the renters who
for
are
renters. This
in
programs, yeah, yeah.
okay, who's in
Sorry, I mean
jeopardy.
it's very comprehensive, but yeah, this is a
Okay,
specific to renters. The city calls it targeted financial assistance
okay, okay.
(TFA).
Why do you think that? Because you said that there's been a lot of people who need this assistance lately. What's going on that's causing that to happen?
Well, I think the need has always been there. I Prior to the pandemic, Philadelphia was filing 20 close to 20,000 evictions per year,
Hmm.
or a little bit over 20,000 evictions per year. During the pandemic, we were anticipating that probably that amount will double. So that's why we started to work on this project back in 2020. And then by way of this work, it turned out that we were able to uh, prevent some of those cases from actually getting filed in court.
Hmm.
So Philadelphia is growing. Philadelphia is prime real estate. And when you add that to private equity firms acquiring and becoming, moving into the space of rentals, then that has created a complicated situation for some of the renters in Philadelphia. I mean, we saw rents going up during the pandemic. Is to some extent is very unregulated or underregulated. So landlords sometimes can proceed with no opposition.
Mm.
Um, that was kind of the shock. And again, going back to the advocacy that we're doing in terms of the eviction diversion program, the shock was in it's not only about delivering the direct services, but also doing the advocacy. Um, the program was put in place for a number of months, and then that got extended, and then that got extended, and now we last year we finally got it extended for a year and a half.
Okay.
But then we know that that period is coming up. I can tell you that we hear positive stories on both sides, talking about landlords, talking about tenants, about the what the program was able to provide for them. What were the positive situations that came out of the program?
Okay.
Ultimately, together we prevented thousands of cases from actually making it to court. When you think about it, I mean, I spoke with a number of tenants who had been residing at these houses for more than 10 years.
Hmm.
They really felt like this was home. This was not a
Right.
house for them. This was their home.
Right.
And they couldn't explain themselves why was it that they had been paying consistently for 10, 20 years, and all of a sudden they miss one, two payments, and the landlord was already filing a case in court.
I
Um, so
um
so um, that was it's complicated when you have to dissect that reality for some of these families. That ties into the work that we're doing on the first time home buyer and home buyer side. ultimately our goal is also to put that information in front of some of these tenants for
Right.
whom home ownership might be a better option.
Correct.
And guess what? Home ownership mortgages are a bit more regulated. There are some things that need to happen. I mean, many of us lived through that mortgage recession of the 2007, 2008, 2010. So we know that there are more things in place um, to prevent that process from moving uh, forward, to stretch that timeline. I'm going to say to stretch that timeline,
Mm-hmm.
my time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but but on the tenant side, we had not seen something similar, which is the reason why the eviction diversion program came to fill that void.
If someone was looking for affordable housing, affordable rent, does the Urban League have a relationship with, I don't know, developers or people who have those types of homes that could be available to them?
We're building a directory right now, especially because there are many programs, there are many sites that are being built in Philadelphia at this time. I'm not sure the people who are not in the housing industry understand the
Hmm.
complexity of what is happening. I mean, some of those big sites that we see going up everywhere here are have a commitment in terms of the number of units that will be rented at quote unquote affordable prices for families with incomes up to 60% of the AMI, 80% of AMI, 100% of the AMI. So we've been having conversations lately with many of those developers.
Okay.
We're trying to put a directory together. I have reached out to the city as well, just kind of like to start that conversation, get some of that information, because ultimately we know the land bank and the city are investing on those properties as well. So we might as well have some kind of way to access that information so we can again connect the potential tenants with the available units.
Okay. Do you suggest anyone who needs to rent a home or who's going to become a tenant, maybe they're moving out of their parents' home, do you suggest they contact the Urban League of Philadelphia before making that move? Maybe go get some type of counseling?
I do. I'm always, well, my background is in housing counseling, so I that's how I got started in this affordable housing space. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm a big proponent of housing counseling. It does not have to be the full length of housing counseling in the context of pre-purchase counseling, maybe, but at least let's get together with a housing counselor to discuss your household budget and your credit report,
Yeah, and
right?
see what your options are.
Yeah, just to see what you can afford, what is happening. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. What we're doing basically is we're taking your information and helping you put it together so you have a better understanding of your own finances and how those play out in the context of what you're trying to do, right? A number of times I have met with people who are mostly, I'm gonna use an example on the homeownership side. So someone is trying to buy a house and the monthly payment is $1,000. That is, let's use the number that is coming out of that transaction. The projected monthly payment is going to be $1,000. And then when I look at their budget, they're currently paying less than that on rent, but yet but there is no surplus that to get them to the $1,000 that they're going to be paying for a mortgage. So
Right.
you can see that that's a problematic situation, and we try to help people understand how some of those day to day decisions are going to take place.
Okay. I think that's a novel idea because people don't think about that when they're renting or they decide they want to get an apartment. They don't think about going to housing counseling first and go through your credit budget counseling, get some information, look at your options because you may end up buying a house instead of renting it.
I'm a
Or,
big proponent and believer of home ownership.
yes.
Our clients are getting younger, and that is by design.
Hmm.
We when I first joined the Urban League 4 years ago, one of the first questions that came up was what does the Urban League that we know, this 100-year-old organization, does to relate to the younger population? So one of the first things that I did I built an infrastructure that was up to par with the expectations of the 21st century, right?
Hmm.
So we do a lot of things online, electronically, remotely. We meet you where you are, but that where you are probably is the cloud. It is an email, is a phone call, and you can meet us where we are also because now we are there. Um, so recently, for example, I processed an application for one of our grants for someone who was born in the year 2004. Uh, so that made me feel, let me just say that that made me feel very old. Um, but at the same time, we're talking about someone who's 19 years old
Right,
and they're about to buy their first home.
right.
Meanwhile, 4 years ago, we were talking about how millennials back then were not buying homes, or maybe it was Gen Y, Gen Z's. I'm sure we're going to continue having those conversations. Uh,
Hmm.
but what I tried to say with that is, if you use the same language that they are using, that the younger generations are using to communicate, they will find you. They will come your way. And I want people to find us because we are not in the sales business of anything, right?
Right.
We're a neutral entity that has the mission of providing neutral information. The mission that what we're trying to do here is just to make sure that those who need the information about a certain process are able to access that information.
Right. And so audience basically they don't get a kickback on this. They don't get
Right.
commission or anything. It's very neutral. And so it's really important that you guys understand that these nonprofits are advocates for you. They're the places you
Right.
want to be so that you can learn what you need to learn so that when you get out there in the real world and you're working with realtors and lenders and all these different people, you will be armed with the information and the knowledge you need to get through this process because it is a process. I wanted to get back to homeowners. Are you noticing an increase in foreclosure?
No,
Okay.
not yet. I'm going to tell you what we have seen. Some of the first cases, we're still transitioning out of the moratorium that uh, was imposed during the pandemic time, right?
Mhm.
But we went in as one, and we're coming out as another. The mortgage industry, the housing industry was shaken
Mhm.
during that pandemic. We have seen it all. I vividly remember those conversations that I had with loan officers and realtors back then, when people thought that the next thing that will happen after when we once we all saw that the pandemic was real, what will be to probably a recession. And then we kind of moved into the opposite direction once 90 days passed. The housing market just kind of went crazy, right? So fast forward to where we are right now. Everyone thought that home prices will go down. That's not what we're seeing. Home prices are more stable, but we're not seeing any homes depreciating yet. At least that's the story in Philadelphia. From what I hear from other markets, everyone is on the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, interest rates are making it harder for people who are LMI, low and moderate income families, to maybe fit the criteria to get a mortgage and eventually buy a home. But in terms of the foreclosure crisis that we at some point we heard about, and some people probably talked about, we are not seeing any of that yet. And Philadelphia is still in a very unique position. I mean, we're talking about the average home price in Philadelphia being $200,000 versus California, where it's $700,000,
Right.
$750,000, right?
Right.
uh, what is defined as naturally occurring affordable housing, affordable homes in Philadelphia. It's still a possibility, meaning that the state is not yet to the point that they're having to artificially subsidize those prices. We're getting there, but you still run across those entry level homes that people with moderate incomes will be able to find.
Okay.
So what is happening now, taking it back to foreclosures, is that when someone is having trouble to pay the mortgage, they might just try to sell the property and walk away maybe with even a small profit.
Okay.
Um, yeah, in the context of what has been historically happening in Philadelphia, we got to remember that everything, just like everywhere else, everything crashed back in 2008, 9, 10.
Right.
Um, so some of those home prices have steadily been appreciating since then. But still, when you compare it to similar cities in terms of configuration, places like New York and Boston, Philadelphia is not near there, even though it offers all of the same commodities. Um, what we are seeing, though, is a number of economic refugees, and I'm not talking about migrant bosses. I'm talking about American citizens who
Mm-hmm.
are unable to buy a home somewhere
Mm-hmm.
else, all right, but they still want to experience that city living, and are finding places like Philadelphia that it's still where buying a home is still relatively accessible compared to, again, places like New York.
Right. Right. My concern for homeowners is 2022 concerned me
Yeah,
because a lot of people bought homes without an home inspection. And so those
yeah.
are the things that I'm a little concerned about. I'm wondering if you guys have received any backlash from that yet. Like people buying homes and then
Um,
later finding out that there's all kinds of stuff going on with the house and they can't afford to get it fixed.
Anecdotally, yes, we saw a small group of clients who went into these transactions, not having waived the inspection requirement, and then to later find out that the basement floated, or that something else was wrong with the house.
Hmm.
Uh, but it hasn't been, again, just because of how the market is continues to work. It hasn't been a large number of people that
Okay.
have come our way doing that. Um, that is along those lines. I mean, we part of what we're doing is we're educating, as you know, part of a curriculum that we offer has also to do with home inspections, even though we are not enforcing or forcing people to get home inspections. We are required to let people know, or participants of our program, that getting a home inspection is one of their rights. So along those lines, we recently received some, at least one or two emails from clients who were in the home purchase process, came to our program, learned about this other stuff, decided to do the inspection because of what they found out through the inspection. And it
Interesting.
was it was a thank you email. It was not a kind of like a you did this to me. It was more so, thank you so much because I came to your program, I learned about that, I consider myself now an informed consumer, and being that I'm an informed consumer, I'm not going to move forward with that transaction, at least for the next, and I'm going to postpone the process for 6 months. And we were like, you know what? This is this is the purpose that the program was created for. So thank
Exactly.
you so much.
That
Uh,
was powerful. I mean, not that y'all don't want people buying houses, you just
no,
want
of
them to
course,
be
of course.
wise. You want them to be wise when they
I
go into
want them to
this.
know what they're signing up for. Exactly,
Right,
exactly.
right.
I mean, it's wild out there. We're seeing a number of deals falling through because of inspections failed
Mm-hmm.
or because of appraisals failed.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so um, we're back on track now. I mean, even though 2021, 2022 were crazy, I would say things are people now have the upper hand for some things. I mean, seller's assist is back too, something that we hadn't seen for a while.
Yeah. We're gonna go there because I know people are anticipating the first time home buyer stuff. But before
Yeah,
we go, I still want to stay in the homeowners. I do want to say this to the homeowners that are listening. If you were one of those folks who purchased your home, didn't get a home inspection, and then there were some problems with your home and concerned about being able to get the repairs, contact the Urban League of Philadelphia. Because as we
yeah,
said earlier, there's some money. There's some money
yeah.
there for you to help you with those things. So don't be discouraged. Don't don't be afraid. Just pick up the phone and call them. And later in this show, I'm going to get your contact information, Abraham. So let's now go into what everyone is waiting for, the first time home
Yeah,
buyer stuff.
yeah.
Um,
It's our biggest program right now. Is what is
right.
keeping us very busy. It's not only a program that consists of financial literacy and housing counseling, but we also provide direct financial support. So we have some grants that are processed in house. We have grants that we partner with the city of Philadelphia for with the state finance agency for. Actually, on October 16, we just launched our most recent pilot with PHFA for the Revitalizing Neighborhoods and Increasing Homeownership program that will
Okay.
offer an enhanced underwriting situation. They lower the FICO score requirements from 660 to 640 for one of their programs.
Hmm.
And then the biggest piece that is getting everyone excited is that is not only $25,000 that can be used for down payment, closing costs, or student loans, but you get to pair that with up to 5% of the purchase price that will be given to you, or could be given to you as a down payment, closing cost thing. So the potential is for close to $60,000. Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
say 25?
that up to $25,000. Yes, and the idea is that is a true grant, but when you put that together with the other grant that naturally will be offered by PHFA, their KFIC program,
Mm-hmm.
then you're talking about close to up to $60,000 if someone was to get both, right?
Okay.
Not everyone is gonna get it, but just
Okay. Okay.
the potential is there.
What's the percentage? How do you get to the up to 25,000? Is it 5% of the sales price or 10, what is that?
The 5% of the sales price is going to happen naturally.
Okay.
It's just going to be part is their K-Fit program. Anyone outside of this program can work with PHFA or a PHFA participating lender and then access their K-Fit program if they meet the criteria. What
Okay.
we're doing what we're doing for this pilot is the additional 20 up to $25,000. What is gonna how someone gets to 35 $45,000 is uh, down payment, closing costs, and then one of the innovations of this pilot, student loans. Student
Oh,
loans. If they have, yeah, I don't think you heard me earlier when I say that if someone has to pay off or pay down student loans, they can use the $25,000 or a portion of the $25,000 to do that.
Okay. Okay. So they could get up to 25,000 if they need that much towards their down payment, closing
Closing
costs,
costs,
student loans.
student loans, balances.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. And then PHFA will give them up to 5% of the sales price
of the
to
sales
add to
price. Yeah,
this.
to the yeah, which is a
Okay.
K-Fit program that is it's already has been around for I think now 3 years.
Hmm.
And that K-Fit program offers 5% of the sales price of the purchase price. I'm sorry, in the form of down payment and closing costs.
So the
So,
only way that they can pair K-Fit with your program is if they have a lender that's part of PHFA.
and it's gonna get even narrower from there.
Mm.
There's a within the PHFA universe, and we're talking about 50 different lenders in Philadelphia that are PHFA participating lenders, then we have 5 lenders that have been selected to
Oh,
participate on this pilot. I'm going to repeat this one more time because earlier this week I spent a lot of time talking to lenders about this. This is a pilot program,
okay.
right? So this is during the pilot phase. We're working with a pool of 5 lenders, and we want to make sure we want to test what works, what doesn't work. So hopefully this pilot program can turn into something else.
Can
But
you tell
right
us who the
now,
5 lenders are?
I mean it's sort of public at this point. Yeah, we're talking about Cross Country Mortgage, Customers Bank, Fulton Mortgage, Prime Lending, and Quain Oak.
Okay, I've always liked
No one,
customers.
and with that, I also need to say that people can't just talk to one of the lenders and ask for this product. They have to come through the housing council,
Okay,
and then we will make that referral.
okay.
If Abraham wanted to call Cross Country Mortgage and say, "Hey, I need to get into this program," excuse me, Cross Country Mortgage won't be able to do that. Cross Country Mortgage will tell me, well, you have to connect first with one of these organizations, and then if you fit the criteria, they'll refer you to us.
Okay. You got me thinking about another issue that we have. The real estate company is under attack. The real estate business, including realtors, right? And
Right.
I don't know if you've heard about that litigation against
Yeah,
NAR.
it's a pretty big settlement. Yeah,
Yeah.
1.8 billion.
And so what that means is buyers agents eventually won't get paid by the sellers, right?
Mhm.
So now the buyers are going to have to pay the agent if they want an agent, and they should have an agent because you need
Right.
that person to advocate for you. So I'm wondering, these grant monies that you guys have, will they be able to apply some of that to their
Yeah.
buyer's agent's fee?
That's I mean, this is all very new.
Hmm. So I just want to
I'm
put
gonna
that
say,
bug in your ear.
yeah, depending on when your audience is listening to this podcast, and not to tell you the specific date when we recorded this, just know that this is very new information, right? So yeah, I think understandably, realtors and the National Association of Realtors are trying to appeal that resolution because that creates a precedent.
Hmm.
And yes, I mean we want for our buyers to be protected and to be informed throughout the process. So ultimately, I don't know where this is leading to. I'm just gonna say that. I think you're probably on the money in terms of what's gonna happen down the road. But yeah, I mean, in the case of some of the grants that we offer, let me say this, we keep it very flexible.
Okay.
The funds can be used for anything that has to do with the transaction. Sometimes I get money back for my in-house grants. Let me just say
Hmm.
that.
Okay.
I issue those grants as gifts. We issue those grants as gifts because it's not meant to be a hurdle. I don't have a problem. We don't have a problem uh, if the gift creates any kind of equity. We're fine with that. We just
Hmm.
want to make sure that the right people are getting this funds. So
Okay.
it bothers me when when I get one of my checks back, because I am not gonna be issuing a check directly to the consumer. And sometimes the title company send the funds back, being like, "Hey," like all casual about asking me for wiring instructions, because then what they think is going to happen is that they're going to give me the money and then I'll give it to the client. And they're very surprised to learn that we do not do that. We have a zero payment directly to the consumer type of policy. Everything
Hmm.
is done through the title agency. So we won't reimburse consumers. But my approach is always, hey, why don't you check with the lender and see if it is okay for you to reimburse the buyer for some of the expenses that they paid for, some of those
I
costs
like
they
that.
paid upfront.
I like
I
that.
I have written a multitude of emails being reassuring these title companies like, hey, it is okay for you to pay to reimburse the buyer for some of the expenses that they incur as part of the purchase. That is
I like
okay.
that. And you also said that you're starting to see seller assist again. See, I'm trying to figure out how to put it all together. So if we did seller assist with the K fit and your down payment approach, we can do all that together, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there is a problem as too much money. I mean, as you probably know, depending on what are the restrictions of some of these funds.
Hmm.
In the case of some of these grants, those can only be used for certain things, and
Hmm.
that is very specific. So I think when I mention those cases when I get money back, I think there's a little bit of that. We want to see people walking into these transactions with $40,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance, which has happened. But in order for them to be able to do that, they also have to be working with the right product. It takes a lot of work from the loan officers as well. Sometimes I have we have an informal competition going on with different loan officers who share those success stories with us, and some of them list every single program that the clients applied for.
Hmm.
And sometimes we're talking about 6 different programs that a person was able to tap into in order to get to the finish line. And I joke kindly with my clients. I'm like, okay, so this person got $40,000, and they invested 20, well, how much? 20 hours of their life, going through 5 different organizations, gathering documents, submitting this, submitting that, well, etc., etc. So that means that they got paid $2,000 per hour, right? Is that a
Hmm.
good return on investment or not?
Hmm.
And most of them will agree.
Right, right,
It's like
right.
that. So you gotta. Part of what we do is that we help people navigate all of these programs, all of these situations. It is, yes, it is about the money. Yes, it is about. Yes, we want to keep them engaged, but this process. Our process is more about the information that we're dealing
Right,
with. We
right,
want to make
right.
sure that information is getting to the folks that who need it. And I'm not even only talking about our first time home buyers. A big portion of my time and my day is dedicated to guide and work loan officers, realtors, title companies, city agencies, and then just making sure that everyone is connected and aligned in terms of what the needs of those families are.
Okay, good, good. Um, if they wanted to use some of that money to buy down the interest rate, would they be allowed to do that?
With this new pilot that I talked about, no.
Okay.
Um, I I grouped everything in one bucket, but I'm just very excited about the new pilot.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's another in-house grant that we offer that can be used for that type of situation. Again, it's very flexible. Um, and then there might be other programs offered by lenders or
Okay.
by state agencies that kind of allow for that.
So basically, whatever that person needs, you guys have the program and you can actually put together a package that's based off of that particular person's criteria.
That's what we do when someone is talking to a housing counselor. The housing counselor, my team, which consists of 9 HUD-approved housing counselors, are we're all analyzing the client's profile and which will help us have an idea of what they might be able to qualify for.
Okay. So I want the listeners to know that if you're interested in buying a home, contemplating it, thinking about it, I think the first step would be to reach out to the housing counselor, to go to the
Yeah,
Urban League of Philadelphia.
yeah.
You want to go to an advocate for you, and that is what the nonprofits are for. And I strongly suggest you contact the Urban League of Philadelphia. In fact, Abraham, how can they reach out to you?
Yes, the best way to connect with us is through our email address, housing@urbanleaguephila.org, or the phone number 215-985-3220, extension 201.
Okay.
Again, housing@urbanleaguephila.org or 215-985-3220, extension 201. We recently moved into our new location, now at 2 Penn Center, 1500 JFK Boulevard, across from Love Park on the 19th floor. We are here and ready to serve anyone who might need our services. We prefer that people, when people plan to come into the office, that they let us know to make sure that the staff is someone is available to meet with them. But just letting everyone know that that's our current location.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to get the services online instead of coming into the office, are you guys set up for that yet?
We can do everything remotely. We can send you a link. You register for the class. We send you a link. You sign up for you join the class. We send you instructions. You upload your documents, and then we follow up with you by Zoom or over the phone to complete your session. And then we
Wonderful.
send you the action plan electronically.
Okay, wonderful. And your first time home buyer workshops, does it have different speakers like realtors, lenders, and
Yes,
all?
we have a rotation of lenders and realtors that have graciously agreed to participate on those sessions. Uh, it's very rare that we don't have a session on a Saturday. We tend to skip major holidays or leading up to or weekends that lead up to a Monday holiday. So, but for the most part, it's every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and people only have to do that process once. Once they do it, the process is good for 12 months.
Okay.
Uh, and then if we lose contact, that's when folks have to do it all over again.
Well, Abraham, we have talked about a lot. I thank you so much for your time. And I just wanted you to wrap it all up. Is there any final words? And we talked about first time home buyer, we talked about homeowners, we talked about renters. Do you want anything that you want our audience to hear that I haven't discussed?
No, just that your housing counseling agencies are here to serve your needs. Don't be afraid because you hear the word counseling as part of the title. I will I sometimes I like to say I like to pretend that I'm the only one, but this is not the case today. There's a number of housing counseling organizations throughout the city, throughout the state, throughout the country. Just make sure that you connect with one, whoever you want to connect with. As I said, is free. It's a free service to you, and it could pay tremendous dividends if you are talking to the right person.
Okay. But to take advantage of this $25,000 pilot program, that's the Urban League of
That's
Philadelphia.
exclusive to the Urban League, Congreso de Latinos Unidos, and HACE.
Okay.
HACE, Congreso, the Urban League.
And there you have it, folks. Another insightful episode of MH Knows or She Knows Someone Who Does. Unlocking Real Estate Secrets. I hope you found our conversation with Abraham Reyes Pardo as enlightening and inspiring as I did. Abraham, thank you for sharing your expertise and shedding light on the essential work being done to address housing challenges and create positive change in our communities. Your dedication serves as a beacon of hope for many, reminding us of the power of compassion and determination. To our viewers, thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. If you are a homeowner, want to become a homeowner, or a future tenant, I strongly encourage you to connect with the Urban League of Philadelphia to gain access to their resources. Please do not forget to subscribe, rate, leave a review, share with someone else. Your feedback helps me continue to provide quality content. Remember, knowledge is the key of transformation. By staying engaged, we can collectively contribute to building a world where everyone has a place to call home and access to support they need. I am committed to continuing this journey with you, bringing you more real estate and financial wisdom and introducing you to experts who truly understand the intricacies of their field. So until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, MH knows or she knows someone who does. Take care.